Would you like to know the quickest way to fuck up your autistic child when they're having a tantrum? Excuse the language, but I feel like I have to make the point. Do you know what you should do? When they're having the meltdown, you should absolutely try and fix everything there and then, because you've got a natural desire as a parent to parent your child, to teach them right from wrong. But there's also a part of you, your ego, that makes you think they shouldn't get away with it. In this video, I will tell you why that desire of trying to fix everything in the moment, where it was coming from for me, and how it can probably help you. But as with everything, welcome to the show. My name's Jem. If we've never met, good to meet you. And if you're coming back, thank you for coming back. Ruby is my daughter, demand avoidant, and the quickest way to fuck up your autistic child when they're having a tantrum, you should do what I used to do. They were in the garden, I'll never forget it, a few years back. And it was autumn. So they're clearing up, we're picking up leaves and we're putting leaves into black bags with her brothers. Kids are kids. They got into a fight. Ruby gave one a wallop. She swore at the other one. And what did I do? When her central nervous system was turned up to the maximum, when she was in fight or flight mode, when the flames are coming out of the ground, what did I do? Well, I grabbed a massive gallon of petrol and went, whoa, have some of that. How dare you do that? The neighbours are watching. You don't do that in this house. Look, that's the fixer. Stop trying to be the fixer in that moment, Jem, because you know what I did? Sent her into overdrive. It's like you trying to have a sensible conversation with somebody who's drunk. Would you do that? Is their brain working? Are they rational? No. It's like you trying to give someone life advice for somebody who's having a panic attack. Would you give life advice to somebody having a panic attack? No, because there is a huge surge of stress, adrenaline, cortisol. There are things happening in that person's body and mind where they can't think. So why are you trying to fix them in the moment when all you're actually doing is making the situation a million times worse? Well, you don't know what you don't know, for sure. I just thought she was being a brat. I never understood the way that demand avoidance worked. But yet, why is it that even when we know intellectually as parents, that our children are not capable of being rational? Nobody is when they're angry and when they lose it. And we're fighting with their nervous system and not their brain. That they're not reasoning. Why do we still do it? Well, it's to do with obviously wanting to raise your child right, teach them right from wrong. There's an ego part from it as well, where you want to show them who's boss. I get that. But there's something else that was driving my behavior, and maybe it's driving yours. You just don't have the time, do you? You don't have the time for the restorative conversation. That's right. My fear was, how can I say it? If I did not fix things with Ruby there and then when would I do it? Even though I understood she was not in the right state of mind. The restorative conversation does not happen when the child is kicking off. It happens later, maybe in an hour, maybe in that evening. Who cares? Maybe the next day, put it on a post-it note, put it in your phone. That's what I do. When an incident has happened in my house, I am focused on regulating her, regulating the emotions, calming her down. Ruby is demand avoidant. She's in a plane. Your kid's in a plane. They're losing control of the plane. There's turbulence, there's storms, there's big clouds. They don't need you to tell them that they're shit at flying the plane and how bad their skills are. They don't need that. They don't need to be told at that point that their plane riding or driving is not correct, whatever the term is. You get the idea. Do you know what they need? They need a voice of reason. They need calm. They need you to, know that whether you put your hand on their wrist or your hand around their back, you need to be the energy that you want them to be. You need to display it. You've got to try and bring that central nervous system back down. And we can't do that when we fix them. That's how they get control of their plane. Not by us trying to fix it. When the plane lands and we've regulated and they're calm, that's the time perhaps when they're calm there, or maybe later in the evening. Just put it in your diary, man. I've got post-it notes for conversations with my daughter. I'm not joking. Those restorative conversations can happen later. They don't have to happen now. The restorative conversation with Ruby could be a walk to the shops, to Tesco Express. It could be out in the garden playing on the slide. And I slip in a little conversation. I keep it non-confrontational. I keep it casual. And most of all, I keep it flexible. Because maybe when I bubble it up, it's still sore for her. And this is the hard things for mums and dads. You're worried you're not going to be able to fix it. So you try and do it in the moment. You realize that you can fix it later. You bring up the conversation and then your child pushes back. And then you lack the flexibility and then you kick off. Well, if I'm not going to fix it in the moment and I'm not going to fix it later, when am I going to fix it? I hear you. I understand you. But you've got to think about the end game. If the end game is getting the information through to the child, the second that we see the flames come up, we need to stop adding petrol and we need to calm the flames down. We need to do whatever is in our power to calm things down, not to set things alight. I've got to tell you, this is like a roller coaster because I get it right, my wife gets it wrong. My wife gets it right, I get it wrong. And the fixer is a natural part of all of us because we want to help. But intellectually, when we understand, it doesn't help them in the moment when they're in that mood or that mode. The next big step is to make the time for the restorative conversation. Because if you don't make the time, you're going to feel a type of guilt where you're not parenting the child properly because they're not learning lessons. And then you overcompensate in the moment. And then that turns into unnecessary energy and you're feeding that emotional arousal where they're panicking. It doesn't help them. You've understood it intellectually. Now you've got to put it into practice, put the time in for the restorative conversation. Get it on a sticky note, put it in your calendar. And remember, be flexible. If you go to have the conversation and they kick off, back down. Backing down is incredibly important. Let them regulate again. I know it's hard because all of this stuff feels inconvenient and we've got things to do. But urgency for me is an enemy to my daughter's demand avoidance. That's the only way I can think about it. And if that's true, I need to remember that and I need to be emotionally regulated. So get ready for things happening in the moment. Focus on regulating. Get the restorative conversation in and be prepared to be pushed back even at the restorative conversation to be flexible. It's not easy, but it's possible. Have a lovely Saturday, people.